Is it true that it's harder to lose fat as you age? As you get into your 30s, 40s, 50s, it's tougher to stay lean? I would say yes, but not for the reasons that you think. In this video, we're gonna take a look at 3 reasons that prevent people from staying leaner as they age and what you can do about it. So the first reason is testosterone decline. As you get into your 40s, you don't have the same hormonal or metabolic profile. So fat distribution starts to change. For me, I put it all on my lower stomach and love handles. One of the big mistakes people make in their 40s is they start to divert to a lot of cardio, and you got to keep the weights in at least 3 days a week, maybe 4. A lot of guys in their 40s, they start to think, oh, I'm in my 40s, I want to get back to some of those sports that I did when I was younger, like running. And I love running too, by the way. But you can tend to look scrawnier. Some body types get away with it and defy that. But for me, if I do too much running, I look horrible. So you got to keep the weights in. You got to keep lifting heavy. You got to keep the volume in. You got to train with the intention to gain muscle. That's one of the best things you can do to offset fat. To maintain testosterone levels naturally, there's 5 things. They all start with the letter S. So number 1, sunlight. You got to get exposure to sun through the eyes 20 minutes a day. Number 2, supplements, specifically vitamin D, magnesium, and zinc. Those 3 are the powerhouses to increasing testosterone levels naturally. 3, strength. You got to maintain your strength in the gym. You don't want to start lifting super light weights. You got to stay strong. 2 things you want to avoid: stress. Possible to avoid these days, but do your best to manage your stress level. And finally, sleep. You got to figure out how much sleep your body needs. Everybody's a little bit different, but you got to prioritize sleep. You can't be waking up at crazy hours and expecting to perform optimally, unless you're going to bed super early as well. Next thing is metabolic slowdown. It's a real thing. Metabolism doesn't just slow down, but it slows down because you lose muscle mass. You stop doing those things that keep your metabolism revved up. A couple of things you got to avoid if you want to maintain a strong metabolic machinery is: number 1, you can't starve the fat off. You can't put yourself in an extreme caloric deficit, or your metabolism shuts right down because it goes into starvation mode and freaks out. When's the next time you're going to give me food? Number 2, you can't do excess cardio to try and stay lean, because then you're going to lose all the muscle that keeps burning the fat 24/7 around the clock. And then finally, every week you got to be in the gym 3 times a week. You got to focus on progressive overload. You got to focus on challenging yourself, doing exercises that don't injure you so you can stay in the gym. That's the name of the game. Once you're in your 40s, it's not about like setting personal records, so to speak, but a record just could be maintaining what you've been doing the last 20 years without getting hurt. That's a form of progress as well. Great strength training strategy to ensure that you do cycles of heavy and cycles of volume. So I do 1 week heavier and then 1 week volume. I'm on my volume week with supersets right now, but on my heavy week, I like to do pyramids where it's 8-8, 6-6, 4-4 for 4 weeks, and then 6-6, 4-4, 2-2 for 4 weeks, and then 5-4, 3-2-1 for 4 weeks. So the take home there is that your training should have an element of staying strong. If you're just dropping your weights, you're going to lose your muscle. And when you lose your muscle, that's what results in the metabolic slowdown. So you need a well-designed program that keeps the weights heavy in a very periodized way that also doesn't get you hurt. I love alternating heavy 1 week, lighter the next week. That's my protocol. Final piece of staying leaner as you get older is recovery. In order to maintain that muscle, train hard in the gym, we got to manage the lifestyle change. You know, when you're in your 40s, you probably got a couple kids now. You know, heck, you might be going through a separation or divorce and you're under a massive amount of stress. You might be starting a new business, you might be scaling a business, and fitness just isn't that important anymore.
Never mind freaking lying on the floor stretching. Like, who has time for that? I'm telling you, the most important thing you do is find time to ensure your body's recovering, and you've got that self-care element so that you're not just going from thing to thing and doing everything mediocre. Recovery is gonna help you do everything at a higher level to get more out of it. It's equally important, or else you're just kind of going through the motions year in and year out. So for me, I like to do yoga twice per week. It's a freaking game changer for me. And it also helps with my gains in the gym, my mindset, stress levels, and just feels good. It feels freaking awesome just to know I can get in certain positions through my hips and through my shoulders and through body parts that need that mobility, or else you just kind of feel like an old man. So I gave you 3 reasons. I'm gonna give you 3 bonus reasons as well. Number 1, an accumulation of injuries. So you see how I can straighten this arm here? Well, I had elbow surgery here about a decade ago. See how I can't straighten this arm? I can't train arms as hard as I used to. Everything I do with arms has to be single arm. So I can't fully extend at the elbow joint. So there's a lot of shoulder and arm stuff that I can't get into. So this impacts my ability to push in the gym. Second reason, priorities change. You never catch me in the gym with my phone, but you'll find me at the gym sometimes in between sets, closing a deal in the DM or talking to my team in Slack, just because kind of been there, done that, right? It's just not as important to be shredded and look a certain way when you get in your 40s and 50s. It's just not a priority, which is fine. So you're not just gonna have the same motivation and drive as you once did. Last bonus reason would be a paradigm shift. If you haven't kept up your level of fitness and you've been on and off over the years, then what worked for you in your 20s might not work for you, very likely won't work for you in your 40s, right? You're probably a beast in your 20s. You could recover faster, right? You could also have freaking, chips and Doritos on Friday night and beer and pizza on Saturday night and still make gains because of your recovery capacity. Now, you can't get away with that. You have to have everything dialed in to make the same type of progress. So you might have to shift and just ask yourself, am I trying to do a program that my body doesn't have the ability to recover from right now? I 1000% agree that age is just a number, but we do have to have awareness that there is a reality that comes with age. And if we're ignorant to it, we can set ourselves back. Your big take home is to prioritize muscle, protect your muscle, build muscle, do whatever you got to take to keep the muscle on your body, and add some more, because that is a metabolic marker for making you feel and look younger. I always say that cardio increases the length of your life, but muscle increases the quality of your life. So keep focusing on building that muscle. Until next time, don't forget, level up or level off.